The world needed a safer trampoline. Dr. Keith Alexander, inventor of the spring-free trampoline, wanted to bring the joy of trampolining to his daughter. His wife said they were too dangerous, so he invented his own. Spring-free trampoline is the world's safest trampoline, with no springs or hard edges. Now, parents can have peace of mind that their kids are outside jumping safely. To learn more, visit springfreetrampoline.com.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. There's a Reddit user, and they were like, okay, here's a question for you. Who is a celebrity you used to admire but no longer do?
Pete Davidson. Oh, wait, I never admired him. Sorry, right.
No, that's it. And, of course, they said, all right, and we want to know why. Why is it you used to admire him, now you do? And so here are some responses. Jared Leto.
Okay.
And the person said, over time, I started to realize how pretentious he is. He has some Bono complex and sees himself as some profound artist who is changing the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not a real fan of Jared Leto either.
I finally watched what I did is I decided I watched both Suicide Squads. I said I was going to do it because I really wanted to like the second one.
Okay. So you watched the first. Okay.
Yeah, and I did. I have to say I like Jared Leto's Joker.
Thank
I thought
you.
He did a good job.
I told you. I thought he was good at that role. I know, like the movie itself got kind of crapped all over, and I can understand why. But I really didn't dislike his performance.
It really wasn't his fault.
No. As a matter of fact, as soon as I saw where the movie was going, like with Suicide Squad, I just knew. I knew it was like, this is a bad choice. Gosh darn it, this is such a dumb choice of what they're doing. But yeah, Jared Leto was good, and I really liked his Joker. And he's quirky. He's played some really powerful roles, but I don't know anything about him as a human being to know whether or not he's everything this person says he is. But
I always thought he was a pretentious kind of celebrity type guy, but I've always thought that. You know, he just kind of gives off that vibe, but that doesn't make me dislike him. I actually like 30 Second to Mars, the band that he has. And I remember watching the documentary, and, you know, there's moments where you're just like, okay, Mr. Artsy Fartsy, but then you also realize he is Mr. Artsy Fartsy. So it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah. Well, some people really don't like feeling like they're stupid. And if, maybe Jared Leto makes you feel like you're stupid sometimes when he speaks.
I don't have a problem with it at all. It's actually not that bad.
Yeah. That's why you're one of the better ones, Steve.
Thanks.
James Corden. All right. I'm sorry, but this is blasphemy. I don't know how you cannot like James Corden. I followed this guy even before anybody knew who he was.
Oh, look at you, Mr. James Corden.
Yeah,
gatekeeper.
I am kind of a gatekeeper. Well, listen, if you're a Doctor Who fan, that's, look, if you're British, you obviously knew about him. But if you're a Doctor Who fan, you knew about him, and then eventually the rest of us knew about him with his Late Show. Somebody said, I saw story after story from fan encounters where he's a complete and utter jerk. Now I know he's fake. His shtick is unwatchable. I haven't heard this. Have there been stories about James Corden, about him not being cool to people? I haven't heard a thing about that.
I don't keep up on a lot of like the celebrity stuff unless like we have like a story in front of us that we learned. I haven't heard anything about James Corden. I just assumed he was a pretty decent guy, but I mean, I'm also not surprised.
He does come off as very likable, but that doesn't mean.
So is he like an Ellen?
He's
kind of like Ellen then.
That's kind of what I've heard, and I
don't
remember, I don't remember the exact things that I've heard about him, but I just know that a lot of celebrities don't like him.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Wow, that sucks. I wonder if it's a British thing. Or if indeed he's just not a cool person. Sometimes Brits can come off in a different way just because culturally they just act the way they do, but we misinterpret that as being a certain way, or maybe he just is, not cool. I don't know.
A texture's got a good one.
All right.
Mel Gibson. Early work, awesome. Then the crazy hit, and it hit hard.
Dude, yeah.
That is a great call, because Gibson was like, man, Lethal Weapon, all those movies, he was unstoppable.
Braveheart was amazing.
The Patriot.
We just don't know if he was always this way. Some of the thoughts in his head, can really seethe and fester for a long time. So I don't want to think when you say he went crazy that affected his work, because I feel like you don't just all of a sudden become that kind of guy. You're kind of that guy for a long time in your life. If you remember some of the comments he made,
or he could have had shades of that, and then it just, as he got older, he just stopped giving an F. And just went down, and then this happened.
Yeah.
Smile and me, because I deserve it.
Yeah, that's anger issues.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, those.
Dude, how about Vicky just showed me a story about him that he's worth over $500 million, actually close to 600, if that's true. And he gets charges them about nearly $2,000 for a picture and a handshake.
Yeah.
Well, you get to do that when you have that much money.
Well, that's how you get that much money.
Yeah.
And also, Steve, I know people who have a lot of money and still in their brain they feel like it's not enough, and it's really crazy the things that they do when you realize how much money they have. You go, dude, you've got like 7 figures. What are you doing?
My daughter and a maid.
Yeah, that's
maids are expensive.
And by the way, I feel like that's still, as crazy as that is, that's still basically just one person he's being a jerk to, as opposed to some of the other things he said where he's being a jerk to a whole group of people.
Very true.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're a pain in my ass.
I forgot how great these are.
See, I really wish he would say that to me. I want that to be my ringtone. Because I really am.
Let the new games begin.
Yeah. Yeah, as a former verbal abuser, or a verbal abuser recovery, I know that rage, dude. That festers for a long time, Steve. That really, really does. He's probably been that guy for a long time.
I haven't heard any rage yet.
You ingrate bitch.
Yeah, well, see, no, those are just terms of endearment right there.
I need a woman.
Wow.
Yeah, you do.
Gosh, man.
I didn't stutter.
Hopefully that was you hope that something like that's a wake-up call. If I have to hear that over and over again for my whole life, it's like, yeah, thank you for the reminder. I need help.
You make me want to smoke.
Wow.
We have a lot of those.
Yeah.
It never ends, man.
Ellen, you spoke of Ellen DeGeneres, James Corden being like Ellen DeGeneres, and Ellen DeGeneres is on this Reddit list. Again, these people are making these claims about these celebrities not because they've had bad interactions. It's just they used to like them and now they don't, and then the reasons are what they're giving. Like Ellen DeGeneres, this person said, I started getting really soul-leeching sort of vibes from her, and now it just feels like she's using people. Now, I got to tell you, who are these people? They're just randos, right? Just basically randos with their with their own opinion. So they really haven't had any interaction. Wow.
How about this texture? He had an interaction. I used to be a fan of Wee Man. Wee Man's from Jackass, right?
Yeah.
Until I met him, and then he yelled at me in front of everybody at a taco stand that he was at for asking for a picture.
Wee Man never seemed like somebody that had the best disposition, though. If I remember correctly.
He's always laughing and smiling.
Was he?
All the guys on Jackass are very well adjusted. What are you talking about?
Yeah, of course.
I must be thinking of somebody else, because I thought Wee Man, so I'm thinking of somebody else then, because if he was always happy, then he's not the person
You're
I'm
thinking of He-Man, and you just caught him at the wrong time.
He-Man always big time.
From He-Man to Wee Man.
So I used to like Billy Joel until I found out he told a dude that I think it's pretty rad to F off. Now he's dead to me. I love you, Steve. I love you as well, but don't hate Billy Joel for that. I love Billy Joel because of that. That actually made me like him.
See, but here's the thing. Those are the kind of interactions that are making these people want to hate folks, like James Corden.
Right.
So really, the way you got treated by Billy Joel is why people hate James Corden. How about Elon?
Okay. I was just trying to think of a celebrity that I once loved and now I'm not a fan of. I can't think of anyone like off the top of my head.
Bill Cosby.
Well, yeah. I'm just trying to think of obviously.
That was like the first one that popped in my head.
But I'm trying to think of like something. I guess I was trying to think of something a little less like serious, you know,
Right.
like someone that did something dumb that made me go, all right, I'm done with this celebrity.
See, that's a tough one because everything that I can think of is basically they did stuff that,
Same, yeah.
Because like O.J. Simpson as a kid, I used to think was cool.
But that's also serious.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Yeah, super serious, yeah.
Yeah, OJ was the man, arguably one of the best to ever play the sport at his position, and he is now just like, you talk about a tale of two lives, really.
Mine wasn't a huge. I mean, it's not a celebrity at all, but in my world, it was. It was the lead singer of the Ataris, the band that played "The Boys of Summer." His name's Chris Rowe, and when I was in high school, he was like my Billy Joe Armstrong these days. Like he was just like on top of the world. And then like as you follow him throughout his career, he had different rage issues like on stage, like throwing drums at other like members for not playing the right songs. And now he just kind of like keeps the Ataris going, but it's like just him. And you're kind of like, what are you doing, man? Like I kind of like lost respect for him, and I don't really care for the band anymore.
It's funny you say that because actually that was one of the few bands like my band got to open up for some decent bands that would come to town, and we got to play a show with the Ataris, and I'm pretty sure it was him that was kind of the douche of the band.
Yeah,
and I was just like, whatever. I didn't really care about the band, so it didn't bother me. I'm just like, go do your cover song that made you some money. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's sad when one of your favorite bands like starts replacing bands and just is kind of a douche. Like, I don't like that. Like, so yeah, that was for me.
It was kind of like Axl Rose for a little bit for me.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you know, dude, get it together. You know, also very silly reason. Like, I'm sure I've never had any interaction with him, so I don't have any real reason to dislike him. But I love Guns N' Roses, and then when the band kind of imploded, and it seemed like he was a major issue with that, I was like, I don't dislike him because I still love their music, but man, you're starting to piss me off. Getting good with Duff and Slash again, and now they are, so everything's cool. It all comes back.
Oh, see, everything's cool.
Yeah.
So you liked him, disliked him, then liked him again.
Yeah, but dislike.
You got to start your own Reddit thread. We don't. This only goes half the way. You got to start a Reddit thread of people that have come around again.
You're right. Oh, someone says I got a good one for you guys. Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, that bastard. You're right.
Yeah, I don't want to hate on anybody, but I really would like to have a conversation with Lou and go, in what world don't you see this as a you scratch my back, I scratch your situation? You know, and all I can think of is that, look, the guy does have hearing issues, and it's very possible he just really didn't completely understand. As a person who's losing his hearing myself, he may not have completely understood us because it just makes no sense for a businessman to treat other business people like idiots, especially when we were just wanting a picture to promote his appearance at the comic convention. And I don't think he understood. He just couldn't have understood that.
Someone said I used to work as a stagehand working local crew. Worst person to deal with? Don Henley. The venue had to be a specific temperature, and all of our guys got kicked out of the catering room because he wanted the entire room to himself.
Speaking of the Boys of Summer.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah, right.
Song.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
that sounds familiar.
The song is what makes you a douche.
Yeah, that's what it is. Dude, we just know that from performers, man. They have a lot of anxieties, and they don't really express themselves in a way except that make them look bad. You know what I mean, Steve? You know, we know enough that they probably just don't, they just get nervous. They just want to prepare for a show, whatever the case may be, and they get panic attacks. But then, unfortunately, they just end up looking like douches with the way they take care of themselves, if you will. And it sucks. I mean, it does, because we've seen so many backstage, like, are you serious?
I got one for you, Steve. Tigger.
Oh, yeah.
You liked him until he hit on your
celebrity.
wife.
Yeah, he's the
Man,
worst
I'm
celebrity.
torn, though, because is it the OG Tigger, or was it someone that was just,
Oh, it's not the real Tigger.
a
Tigger,
hired hand?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
fair.
It really bothers me, man, that Tigger gets represented this way.
Yeah.
I should call them and tell them that they have a bad Tigger.
They do.
How many years later?
It's like a bad Santa.
About 10.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, you hired a Tigger that I hate.
Yeah, that's Billy Bob Thornton playing Tigger, and it's not right.
And I'll send them a picture. I'm like, here's proof. This is the Tigger that we dealt with.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they had
Find
different, like, unique traits for each Tigger that played Tigger at Disney.
Yeah.
I thought of a celebrity that I don't like anymore.
Who's that?
It's Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Why is that?
Because he's such a actually dork on Twitter. Like, he makes these weird statements and then will just, like, try to make it sound cool. And he's such a, he's like the worst Star Wars fan, but it's like actual, like, science. And it's just frustrating.
Ooh, I'm not sure. So I'd have to check some of them out, so I don't know how he comes off. But, a lot of times people that are super smart, they have no idea they're coming off like douches. They really don't.
Basically, yeah.
They literally look at you like, what's wrong with you? And it's like, you don't even realize that you're a social pariah right now, do you? They just don't know.
I mean, sure, he's an astrophysicist, but come on.
Yeah, putting the ass in astrophysicist, though, right?
There we go.
Like, seriously, like, he tweeted out.
That's right there. That's it right there.
He tweeted out, Friday the 13th happens just once or twice a year, exactly as rare as Thursday the 12th or Saturday the 14th. Shut up! Or Friday the 6th, or Friday the 20th, or Friday the 27th. It's like, go to hell.
Do you know what he's... why does that bother you? Do you know what he's trying to do or not?
He's trying to basically say that Friday the 13th really isn't as special as we make it out to be, I guess.
Yeah, don't be superstitious.
So what?
No,
it's
I'm with
fun
the
to
Rad.
have a fun day. It's just a fun thing that you got to hoop
Friday
on.
the 13th's a fun day.
I do.
I love Friday the 13th.
Yeah, my daughter was born on Friday the 13th.
Jeez, BJ.
All right,
You and Neil deGrasse Tyson should go make out and leave us alone.
Yeah. Neil deGrasse
Forever.
Okay, I mean, honestly, you know what frustrates
Degrassi
me?
Junior High.
Here's what frustrates me. Idiots that don't even understand what the day is and celebrate it like Friday the 13th is bad luck day.
Good
It's
luck
not a day
day.
to celebrate at all.
It's a great day for movies.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you know what? First of all, Steve is a troll. Second of all, Reb's a troll. And Danny's an idiot. So I really don't even want to talk. And Vicky will just, soon she'll just chime in with something from the
I
internet
just
to agree
think
with Steve.
DJ was cool, and then he became the worst.
Yeah. Listen, I've always been the worst because you're all a-holes. Friday the 13th is a good day. Jesus, honestly, I can't do it anymore. You know what? I'm with Neil. I'm on Team Neil.
So it's a
That's where I
mix,
am.
just like Billy Joel, who told you to F off. Dennis Rodman told me something similar at Atlanta airport when I was 16 years old. That's awesome.
But he's just being Dennis Rodman. Does anybody ever expect Dennis Rodman not to be? The guy went and hung out with one of our biggest political enemies. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, he's Dennis Rodman. He's just going to be that guy.
Yeah, but I've heard stories from friends that have been like randomly were at like a strip club and Dennis Rodman was there and he bought rounds of drinks for everybody.
Ah, well, there's a good side to this man.
And it involves naked women.
There you go. All right. By the way, Steve, I do love how there are certain facts you'll retain forever.
Yes.
It probably does revolve around naked women.
Well,
There's no response, ladies and gentlemen. The defense rests.
sometimes that's just what triggers good memories.
Yeah, well, I'm not disagreeing with that, my friend. Hey, imagine this. Imagine becoming so successful that people make bumper stickers telling you to F off. This happened to one musician, and you'll hear his great reaction to this at 8:20 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
Your kids will be saying,
Please 5 more minutes. I can't believe I did that.
and
Look how high I can bounce.
Spring Free is the world's safest trampoline, the place where stories are made. The innovative design boasts no springs, so you know you're safe. Go ahead and create the greatest stories you'll tell your friends. We're back in stock. Get it while you can. To learn more about the world's safest trampoline, visit springfreetrampoline.com.
Mom, come watch us.
New on Curiosity Stream. With superior armies comes superior weapons. How has innovation mechanized the battlefield? From bullets to battleships and everything in between. It's machinery of warfare. Plus, from the gross to the gourmet. See how that in-flight meal lands on your tray table. On secrets of your airline food. It's all on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Darius Rucker, who he recently did an interview And he was talking about the backlash he received when Hootie and the Blowfish became successful. And in case you don't know, Darius, the lead dude of Hootie and the Blowfish.
Only want to be with you.
Wow,
Darius, is that you?
Hold my hand.
Wow. Oh, now it sounds like he's got something caught in his throat. All right.
All of a sudden he's become Bill Clinton. Hold my hand.
Oh, wow. I did not hold her hand.
Only want to be with you.
So they were asking him in this interview, they were like, hey, did you ever know about the infamous F Hootie bumper stickers that were floating around in the 90s? And here's what Darius had to say about that.
I laughed my ass off. I was driving in my brand new truck with my brand new house, and I was playing to 20,000 people that weekend. But that's the problem you have when things get so big. When you get something that's selling 1 million records a week, people have to hate it, or they're not cool.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, you can think of a few bands that I think because of how hugely successful their whatever record it was, I think it was like their first record, but every song was a hit, and there's like 6 or 7 songs. I think people got burnt out quick. I think of like Third Eye Blind was a similar band where,
oh yeah,
I mean, every song on that record it became a monster hit, and it's like at some point people just are like, okay, I'm done with this band.
Yeah, it is interesting how that works out, where how many hits is great and how many are too much, because you made 2 great examples, Steve.
Yep.
They were, Hootie was, I mean, they were and I was working at, female targeted radio stations back then, and it was all we ever played. And my God, in the 90s, it was a beating, because I was like, here they go. Here's Hootie again. Here's Hootie again. And it sucked that they had all that greatness happen so quickly. When you think about other bands that can put together a greatest hits album, it takes them years to get all those greatest hits.
Right, their greatest hits record is just their first record. Like, here, just take this. Like, nothing else we've done is good.
I didn't realize that Cracked Rear View, their first album, went 2 times diamond.
Yes.
Which is 21 times platinum.
Right, everyone hates on them, but 21 million people bought it.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So somebody liked it. It's like whenever for a while people would crap all over like Nickelback or Limp Bizkit or Creed. It's like they sold tens of millions of copies of their albums. Clearly, it wasn't just one really obsessive fan that did that with deep pockets.
Yeah, it is weird how then we turn around and hate somebody like that, because I guess it is overexposure and just hearing it all the time.
In all fairness, I never was a Hootie and the Blowfish fan. I always hated them. Like I was not a fan of that music.
Oh, really?
I remember when I first heard
surprised.
it, I was like, ugh, this is just so like.
Wait, the kid that loved the Seattle sound and all things heavy, you didn't like Hootie and the Blowfish when you were in your teens? Come on.
And it was like that band, like you just heard them everywhere. But I actually became a fan of Hootie and the Blowfish, still not for their music. I'm not listening to Hootie, but when their Behind the Music came out, and they were just so unapologetically nice, and they were just like, nothing bad ever happened to us. We all still get along. We count our money together. Things are good. No tragedy. We have nice cars and nice homes, and we have a great life, even though no one wants to hear our music anymore. We created an entire, our families are set for life because of that one record.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I thought that was just something like really cool. Like, not every band needs to have like massive drama. And this band, they just seem to recognize that they kind of were a one and done type of a band, but that one sold 20 million copies of it.
Yeah, exactly. And the songs on that album make up, as far as when you take a look at the quantity, how many bands have as many hits as they do? If you take a look at their longer careers, if you look at their greatest hits albums, it's that album, like you said, is a greatest hits album.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about like other bands that had that kind of luck, like where it was just like, I felt like Matchbox 20, they were like pretty massively huge for one record, and and also like with Hootie, I mean, obviously these bands have put out other songs and other records, but they never were on the Spin Doctors.
Oh yeah,
them?
Two Princes.
Yeah.
They still play that. I still hate that song.
Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
I love those two. I rediscovered those. I forgot because I listened to them a lot back in the 90s, and I put them back on my iPhone, man.
You know what made me respect them a little bit more though was the fact that they're more along the lines of like a Fish or a Grateful Dead jam band, and their jam band stuff is actually decent. Like I like their stuff. I just hate those songs.
I was so into the Spin Doctors that I got the stupid hat that the singer wore in the music video.
Yeah, baby.
It was like a beanie, but it had like ear flaps, and then these two like almost like yarn strings hanging from the ear flaps that had like a poof at the end of them.
So 90s.
It was so it's like where's your hacky sack with that stupid hat?
Yeah, and that weird pullover that all the stoners wore in school.
Yeah, I see it.
And I would wear that hat all the time. And just recently, when I was talking to my mom, she mentioned how she found that hat. And she was trying to, and my wife's like, what hat is this that she keeps like, remember, Steven, the hat you wore all the time? And then I finally had to explain to my wife, like,
oh, yeah, you need that hat. You need your Spin Doctors.
I went through a weird Spin Doctors phase where I wanted to look like the singer.
Pretty sure.
So I bought the hat.
Pretty sure that's the same hat that Macaulay Culkin wears in Home Alone 2.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe he got that from Home Alone 2.
That hat was so stupid, and I look like such a goober in it, but I wore it because I'm Spin Doctors guy.
That's funny.
Two princes. Hey.
Yeah, that's right.
But you can't only also say that one-hit wonders, because I was thinking like Alien Ant Farm, like they had a massive hit, but then they kind of went away. I think more of like. And the only reason that they had more than one was because they had just had such a long career. But like even like the Offspring, like they flared up with Smash, and there was just a bunch of hits. But then no one cared about Ixnay on the Hombre, and then Americana was a big thing. And now it's kind of like they're set for life for those albums.
They've got their fan base, but they're not kind of winning over new people.
No, and they haven't done anything like massively hit in probably 15, 20 years.
But they don't need to because they're on the road and people still love them.
Yeah, and they sell out shows, which is crazy.
Well, we mentioned a lot of bands, but we did, the one thing that Hootie did was just sell so much of that. And my question would be, how many bands have sold that many albums out of their entire collection? In other words, take a look at their whole anthology and how many have reached the amount of records sold
Double
that
Diamond?
they did with one album. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You have to have mad props to those guys. They took over the music world for a bit of time. They were the Andrew Dice Clay of music.
Yeah.
Because Dice Dice sold out arenas. I mean,
more like the Dane Cook of music because they weren't dirty like Dice.
There you go. Yeah, actually that. Yeah.
I'll give you that because Dane Cook sold out arenas too. So but that's my point. It's except it was so quick. I think Dane Cook's career. I don't know. I feel like Dane Cook's career went a little longer than Dice's, but it's hard to say. But they were so quick. What was it, like 2 years and done?
It kind of felt that way. It was like, because that record was out forever. Like there was songs being played off of it forever.
Yeah. But I look at Alanis Morissette being that way because her first album had a lot of great songs on there too. Not to the level of Hootie, but
still pretty huge.
Yeah. And for, you sit there and you go, for no good reason, because they were good songs. Not only were they good songs with a good, but the writing was good in the songs. I mean, she actually spoke to a lot of women with the stuff she sang about, and yet gone off the face of the earth. I really thought she would have had more staying power.
It's funny. I looked up Double Diamond Records just to see Shania Twain come on over. It went Double Diamond. That's the one with like.
Oh really?
Yeah, with one with like, man, I feel like a woman.
And I was just singing "Come Through My Window" by Melissa Etheridge.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Come on over.
Yeah.
Come through my window.
You know what? You sure are a connoisseur.
Shania Twain.
I just thought that was interesting because it kind of
Shania had a career though. Now Shania, I mean, that's amazing.
But I'm saying
everybody knew Shania Twain, and I still think, she had at least a decade-long career. No,
I can't speak intelligently about Shania Twain. A sentence I never thought I'd say in my life, right there. But I know I just assume she's still successful, but that's not my world. So I don't know if a country music fan just thinks of her like how a rock or a pop rock fan would think of Hootie and the Blowfish. I have no idea.
Just looking at her wiki, or actually her about from ShaniaTwain.com, so it's a little, obviously a little biased on that. She sold over 100 million records, making her the best-selling female artist in country music history and one of the best music artists of all time. So, yeah.
Yeah, she's on the whole level.
And if you look at her anthology, Rev, I don't know if they have it on there, but she made a lot of records, and she was relevant for a long time.
That was the only one I ever knew by her. Just thanks to my mom.
Oh yeah, I don't know any Shania Twain.
Yeah,
I know the name. Obviously, that's about it.
Sure.
Yeah, well, Nirvana, they went at least 10 times. They went diamond. I don't know how many copies Nevermind sold, but it's got to be close to that.
Yeah, and
you think about it, like we obviously all love Nirvana, most people, not everyone, but like in the world of like rock and Seattle rock music, but like for some. They probably view Nirvana on the same level as like a Hootie. Like you had that one big record and that was it. Like because look, In Utero was a great record, but it did not come close to the success that Nevermind had. Yeah.
But they still had staying power, Steve. I mean, they were still like loved longer.
They're triple diamond.
Yeah,
that record sold 30 million copies.
What? Nirvana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy to think when they first pressed it, they pressed like about 100,000, and they thought for sure they weren't going to sell those. Like they're like, this is a very lofty amount of records we're printing. Yeah. Because back in those days, that's what you would do. You print X amount of copies, thinking how well it would sell, and send them to all the record stores. And they ended up a little record that they didn't think was going to go that far. Said it sold 30 million copies.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah. And they had those kids had a career, didn't they? They did okay, those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll also give staying power because of the fact that Dave Grohl keeps rolling on. I mean, that was a band of talent, and people didn't get sick of, really. Who do people got sick of? They just were done. It didn't matter, where you may not have loved the other Nirvana albums, Steve, but I wouldn't say you were sick of the band.
No, but I was just trying to say, like, in the eyes of some, that's a band that was kind of like a one big record, and then that was it.
Yeah. See, I see what you're saying, but I look at the phenomenon of what Hootie was. People were done with them. It was just like, peace out, and that's what's amazing about them is that for a band that was really, if you will, a one album hit wonder, they took over the world, which is different than just like one song. It's pretty nuts.
You guys remember Jewel? Oh yeah, Jewel was like, Jewel had like so many different versions of herself. Like she was first like the coffee shop singer songwriter, and then she decided I'm going to get into the world of pop, and then just kind of became like a second-rate pop star, and then I think she did country.
Yep.
And I have no idea what she's doing now.
And folk, I mean, she sort of dipped into the folk world.
Yeah.
But didn't she just have like maybe one or two songs that really like became at least charting on the charts? As far as like pop goes, I don't remember.
I can't name a single Jewel song.
As soon as you play it, I would know it. But yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's slow. I remember it was a slow hit.
I said, "Who will save your soul?"
That was
That's the one.
And then You Were Meant for Me. You were meant for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I was meant for you.
Yeah. That's it.
We were pretty good at a duet on that.
Yeah. Wow, we can totally start a Jewel cover group.
I can't wait.
Family Jewels.
Family Jewels.
There you go. That's it. All right. Winner.
3 dudes singing songs that were popular by Jewel.
Yeah. And Jewel was famous for not getting her tooth fixed. Like everybody always talked about her tooth.
Right?
And she wouldn't get it fixed, and people's good for her. I mean, it was really weird. That was like the topic of a lot of conversations with Jewel.
Snaggletooth, yeah.
Yeah. Why, how come you don't get your tooth fixed? She's like, what's the point? What do I need to? And people are like, all right, dig you, girl. You don't have to cave in. Yesterday, Steve, he did get this one wrong.
What is the smallest unit of matter?
Not giving an F?
No.
A pound?
No.
A feather?
No. I just got the matter thing. Like, it doesn't matter, so F it.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
What you think?
There we go. You guys.
There's layers to my stupidity, Red.
Yeah.
Wow. Layers.
I don't know what that says about me that I got it.
Yeah, I think he's pretentious like Neil deGrasse Tyson is what I think is going on here. Yeah, that's what I think. The correct answer we're looking for is atom. See how the matter works in now? Yeah. You want a shot at beating Steve? You got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're going to play Beat Miggs, and we'll do that at 8:47 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. Here's another question from a listener. How long is a bankruptcy going to affect my credit rating?
Of course, most of the time, by the time we're talking about filing a bankruptcy, the credit has already taken a huge hit. Chapter 7 is going to affect it more negatively than Chapter 13. Chapter 7 stays on your credit report for 10 years from the time you file. It usually takes 7 or 8 years for your credit scores to get back into the normal range in a Chapter 7 case. However, your credit will start to recover even in Chapter 7 after about a year. You'll be able to get credit again right away, usually before your case is even over. Chapter 13 stays on your credit report for 7 years and usually takes about 3.5 years for your credit to get back in the normal range. So Chapter 13 will mean your credit gets better much more rapidly.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at ChooseTheRightChapter.com. That's ChooseTheRightChapter.com. Thanks for listening.
The world needed a safer trampoline. Dr. Keith Alexander, inventor of the spring-free trampoline, wanted to bring the joy of trampolining to his daughter. His wife said they were too dangerous, so he invented his own. Spring-free trampoline is the world's safest trampoline, with no springs or hard edges. Now, parents can have peace of mind that their kids are outside jumping safely. To learn more, visit springfreetrampoline.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.